There's the sun again, we saw it earlier, but what use, you might ask, of the many different ways of solar power can we find? Well, it's a company near Cardiff that we want to talk about. It's sending out its first batch of 1,000 solar-powered mobile phone chargers to Kenya. The company, G24 Innovations, is backed with American money, and it's using a new principle to generate the power based on coloured dyes. It claims it's had huge interest in its mini solar panels from mobile phone providers. Simon has been to Cardiff to look at what they're doing.
Solar power has a reputation for being expensive and not very reliable, but that's all changing. And Bob Hertzberg, you've come over from Los Angeles, and you're showing us something different. This is one of your products.
This is one of our products. This is a new, what's called dye-synthesized thin film that works in low light conditions. And here we are in Cardiff, where it's not very sunny, it's cloudy, and we're producing solar power to charge that phone.
It's charging it up just from this pack here.
Just from this pack here, and the really dynamic thing is that in most solar is needed, all the technology, you have to be in a sunny climate in the sun belt, and here it is. This will work in the rain.
There's one experimental production line already running. It's no accident that the first batch of solar chargers is heading out to Africa, in a continent where it's easier to get a mobile than a landline, but few people have mains electricity for charging. These mini panels will be a godsend.
This has 5 times the capacity, meaning it's 25 megawatts of power per year that this machine will be able to produce.
Bob Hertzberg is a California politician, Democrat, but friend of the Republican governor Arnie Schwarzenegger, and he's thinking big. Next door to his prototype production line, he's just commissioning something on a different scale.
By conventional standards, that's about 25,000 homes a year, 1,000 homes per megawatt in terms of this size, and that's this machine. And if you look over here, you'll see all the open space, because the plan is to put another machine and another machine and another machine and have just a very significant presence, certainly be the largest in the UK in terms of manufacturing.
You're in Wales, but
That's right.
why are you here? You come from the States,
I do.
You're looking at Africa to sell, and maybe
right.
the Far East, so why are you here?
Well, you know, I was in government for many years in California and really understand this issue and was very involved in these environmental issues. But the kind of the unfortunate situation in the States is there's a lot of talk about renewables, and thank God it's finally starting to catch on in the Congress, and hopefully we'll see some national policy. But quite frankly, in Europe, you're just miles ahead of us.
The solar cells on flexible thin film are made using a roll-to-roll method, which is easier to automate and requires fewer people. But the main feature is that the part sensitive to light is a coloured dye. So it's quite different from the silicon cells most solar power companies use.
What I'm holding in my hand is a conventional silicon photovoltaic piece or a solar module. This is what most people think of when they think of solar. It takes an enormous amount of energy to produce because you have to melt basically sand and go through a lot of special steps to get to this level.
Okay, and your one?
Well, ours, in contrast, has been reduced down to simply painting a metal surface and then dyeing it with what you think of as dye.
And you call it a dye, but what's that doing? Why is that producing electricity?
Well, the way that dyes work, when we think about a dye, you think about dyeing your clothes. If you want red shirt, you use a red dye. But what that means is that the white light is mixed up with all colors. And when that white light hits your shirt, the green's taken out, and the red, everything but the red is taken out, and the red's reflected away. Well, that's the same thing here. Light energy comes in here and is absorbed by the dye, so that any light that gets in here is trapped as energy within the dye. Now the thing is that what do you do with that energy? And that's where we exploit the technology. We've taken that trapped energy and turned it into electricity.
Okay, let's have a look at the dye then.
Yeah, it's pretty much a conventional type of material. It's special. It's not something you'd want to dye your clothes with, but it's really just a powder, and this is another beauty of the technology, is that it's very easy to handle, it's non-toxic, and it doesn't require a lot of special processing.
Solar power has been around for half a century, but this technology is designed to bring it to the mass consumer market, with millions of potential customers in the developing world.
you're going to see incredible things. You're going to see windows that look like tinted windows that are going to create solar power on people's homes and in offices. You're going to see people with umbrellas in third world countries walking around to create lights and power for their systems. You're going to see all sorts of indoor solar. That's what this is so great, because it works in low light. It's going to be clear and see-through. It's really, the future is very, very bright for all kinds of new and creative solar technology.
So the dye-sensitized thin film, as it's called, might soon be popping up all around us. It's a pretty mind-boggling ambition from a company which only employs 35 people so far, but this week they've taken their first step.